Hello and welcome to the new Fantasy Haven livestream. It's your boy, the late Lord Haven, back at it again. I was late, slightly late, because I was busy drawing Illyrio Mopatis. I was about to insult him, but then I realised I'd get demonetised if I used a certain word. I'll just call him a fat fellow. But he distracted me. I was busy drawing him, and I looked at the time, and it was 1 minute to 5 where I live, and I was like, oh no. Okay, let's begin. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Send in super chats if you have a question for me. We're going to do some voting. We're going to do some chatting. All that stuff. All that good stuff. Come in. We had more viewers initially and they all yeeted because I took too long. There we go. In we come. We have an iceberg to explore. We have an iceberg. Today we'll be looking at the House Tyrell theory iceberg. Slightly delayed. It took quite a while for me to set this, not to set it up, but I've been busy doing art for my Blackfire video, and then I realised, oh damn, I haven't actually done a live stream for the following on from my House Tyrell video, because what I want to do after every animated video is one video going through, one live stream going through that video and kind of chatting generally about the background of that house, and then one live stream looking at the weird theories. What could happen in the Winds of Winter? So everyone come in. Come in. Give me a second, I'll have a drink. Hello, okay. Shall we begin? Do we have enough viewers in? Yeah, I think we got a decent amount of viewers. Don't want anyone to be left out. I don't know whether we'll go through the entire iceberg, or maybe do half now and half another time, but we'll see how it goes, and I will also be doing some voting. I'll be putting some polls in the chat so you can vote on whether you believe a theory is true or is not true. So, before we begin, as I said before, for people who are just here, like, subscribe, check out the Patreon, send in super chats, and spank my ass. Let's begin. Where are we? So the first theory... Oh, shit, we have super chats. Oh, that was quick. Oh, we have 2 super chats. I'm so sorry I'm cucking all of you out of these theories. The first super chat is from none other than John Cribbin, thank you John, who said, Willis Tyrell is probably the most eligible bachelor in Westeros. Why isn't he married? That's a really good question. Why isn't Willis married? We know that there were plans for Willis to marry Arianne Martell, and when I say plans, of course, what I mean is Arianne wanted to marry him. She wanted to visit him, but she was caught by Oberyn and sent back, because of course, long-term, Doran was plotting to marry Arianne off to Viserys Targaryen after Robert's Rebellion. And so he would deliberately marry her off to random old men, knowing that she would reject them. Yeah, so why isn't he married? My only thought is that it's a meta thing, that George wants to marry him off in the future to an important character. It is, you know, he's what, 24, 25 years old, eligible bachelor. Maybe in-universe Mace is biding his time. Mace and Olenna are like looking around, waiting for some good alliances. They don't want to rush too hard. I mean, initially the plan was to marry him to Sansa, actually, but the Lannisters managed to snatch Sansa away and marry her to Tyrion instead. But I don't know, I think I wouldn't be surprised if Willis marries someone in the next couple books. I'm not sure who though. Maybe we'll explore that a bit further when we go down the iceberg. Thank you for the super chat from Elven Demon 25, who said, I was DMing Quinn on Twitter and he said, you smell LML2. Nice. Alright, well, Quinn the GM smells, thank you very much. That bastard. With his, 20-something K subs? I don't even care. I don't even care about Quinn anymore. Speaking of Quinn, trying to organise a live stream with him. It's been a while. I know you guys are excited for that. Hold on. He said you smell Lucifer means Lightbringer 2. Do you mean that Quinn the GM thinks I smell and thinks David Lightbringer smells? Or does David Lightbringer think that as well? Am I a pariah in the A Song of Ice and Fire community already? Thank you for the super chat from Boombler, I'm not sure who that is, who says, slides €10. This is my end of the deal. Now I hope you included the theory about Natalie Dormer divorcing you. That theory isn't on the Iceberg because it's not a theory, it's a fact. Natalie Dormer, as some people, this is part of the Fantasy Haven Iceberg, right? This is the Haven Iceberg, along with all the Deep Haven lore, so History Haven, Late Lord Haven, Forest of Doom, all of that stuff. Deep down, there's a running joke about how Natalie Dormer is my future ex-wife. Yeah, the €10. Thank you, Boombler. I didn't know you actually. I thought that was a meme. Thank you for actually, yeah, double cameo. Boombler is one of my patrons, and because he has the highest tier, he's going to cameo in the Blackfire video, and looks like he'll have a double cameo because we sorted something out, so that'll be fun. Keep an eye out for a certain night with an interesting sigil. Another super chat. Okay, I'm very, very sorry. After I read out this super chat, I will take a pause and actually go through the theories. Thank you for the super chat from Samantha B, who said, I'll be watching this on replay, but here's a little thank you. Thank you so much, Samantha. You're incredible. You're amazing. Thank you so much. Now I'm kind of hoping someone makes a Fantasy Haven Iceberg with all of the, going through all of my live streams and finding all the like obscure things I've said, or all of the like patron Discord in jokes and stuff, and then create deep lore, Deep Haven lore. Okay, that's enough super chats. You don't care about super chats. You don't care. You care about the theory. So let's begin. Number 1, Margaery is the younger, more beautiful queen, and the picture representing this tier above the iceberg, the obvious theories, is a nice little Tyrell family picture. So this is part of the Valonqar prophecy that Maggie the Frog gave to Cersei Lannister when she was a child, that she'll be overthrown by a younger and more beautiful queen who will take her place. And as the reader, we are left to imagine all sorts of characters. So could it represent Sansa Stark? Could it represent Arianne Martell? Could it represent Daenerys Targaryen? The most obvious one is Margaery, but because it's obvious, it's probably not true. But of course, Cersei acts against Margaery throughout A Feast for Crows. She despises the Tyrells, she becomes paranoid, she grows to hate Margaery and how she has her claws in Tommen, and so she sort of sets up a plot to accuse Margaery of being an adulterer and so on, in an attempt to get her, to eliminate her as a threat, basically. Now, is she the younger, more beautiful queen? I think because Cersei is treating her as that figure, that prophetic figure, then no, because it would be too obvious. Or it could just be a case of self-fulfilling prophecy, where by doing this, by acting against her in such a way, Margaery will end up becoming the younger queen that overthrows her. But I don't really think that's where the Tyrell narrative is heading. We'll dive into that a bit later. Some people think it's Daenerys. That's sort of the next obvious one, that Daenerys will come and overthrow her. But I think Aegon and the Golden Company will overthrow Cersei before Daenerys maybe even gets to Westeros. So I don't think it's going to be Daenerys. Personally, maybe Sansa, but personally, I think Arianne Martell. I think, this is my personal headcanon, I think Aegon Targaryen / Blackfire will overthrow Cersei and will marry Arianne Martell, and then Arianne will therefore be the queen, the younger, more beautiful queen that has taken Cersei's place. Apologies for that dog barking. It's not my dog, it's the neighbour's dog. It's the it's the army dogs, because I live in Guantanamo Bay. They have some dogs to scare the prisoners. They're always barking around outside. It's crazy. So I will do a poll for this one. I'll do a poll for all of them, really, but is Margaery the younger, more beautiful queen that will overthrow Cersei, or is it someone else? That dog had better be quiet soon, because that's getting annoying. And I'm launching the poll in the chat, so if you're watching this video and you have access to the chat and you're able to type, then vote. Not everyone is. Some people just listen to this while working, which is fine. But throw in your votes and we will see. What have people been saying then? What's the chat saying? Okay, people roasting me for being late. Classic. Oh, the no vote is overwhelmingly winning. 87% right now with 23 votes. Okay. Ooh. Hell, Chad Summerchild is in the chat. Hi, Chad. People might not like that Willis is crippled. Well, no, I don't think anyone would refuse to marry Willis because he's crippled. Like, when it comes to political alliances, it doesn't matter what the other person looks like. If they're capable of producing children, to your knowledge, and they're in an important strategic place on the geopolitical map, then of course you're going to marry them. No one's going to refuse to marry the future Lord Paramount of the Reach just because one of his legs is a bit busted. Oh, Garland Tyrell himself is in my chat. That's incredible. Okay, we got 77%, 35 votes in. I won't let this one go for too longer because it's no is winning overwhelmingly. So, most people think that Marjorie will not be the younger queen who will overthrow Cersei. I agree. And the next on the list is Olenna poisoned Joffrey. So this theory is basically taking what Littlefinger says to Sansa at face value. Joffrey dies, he chokes to death at the wedding, and it turns out that it was, according to Pycelle, it was the Strangler that did it. And Littlefinger said that there was a plot where he worked with Olenna Tyrell to poison Joffrey at his wedding. So Duntus Hollard was working for Littlefinger and gave Sansa a necklace. Olenna took one of the beads of the necklace, one of the gems out of the necklace that was actually a vial of Strangler poison, and then dropped it into Joffrey's glass when no one was looking. No one would suspect a little old lady to be a kingslayer and an assassin. Now, there are some people who disagree with this and say that Littlefinger's version of events are actually incorrect, or deliberate lies, because Littlefinger very rarely actually tells the truth, so why should we trust what he's saying to Sansa? We'll go into that later, because I do have a theory later on about Olenna not poisoning Joffrey. But for now, let's do a vote on this one, because this is an easy one. Did Olenna poison Joffrey? She had the means. She was there and supposedly plotted it with Littlefinger. She had the motive. She didn't want her granddaughter marrying a lunatic and a tyrant who might abuse her. She'd rather her granddaughter married the young, amiable Tommen Baratheon, who seems like a sweet kid and probably easier to manipulate and control as a puppet king. And she had the opportunity. Wait, no. Means, motive, and opportunity. The means, means the poison. Motive, Joffrey sucks. Opportunity, she was at the wedding, blah, blah, blah. So we'll do another cheeky vote about that one. Did Olenna poison Joffrey? So yes or no? Let me know. Now, you're allowed to change your mind later when I get to the theory that Olenna didn't poison Joffrey. And maybe your mind is changed, in which case, you can go ahead and change your vote. Bum bum. Young Griff is the younger, more beautiful queen. Maybe you're right. That would be quite funny. Carl Carsnuck in the chat. Hello, hello. Okay, so 77% are voting yes, with 30 votes in. Did Olenna poison Joffrey? That's a landslide. I don't think we need to wait for any more votes there. It looks like most people believe that yes, Olenna did poison Joffrey. Some people believe the pie was poisoned. That's a whole other thing. Joffrey was just allergic to pigeon pie. He's just allergic to pigeon. A big conspiracy. Pycelle was just like lying at his ass. He's like, it was the Strangler, I guess. Okay, I'll end the poll. 80% have said yes, they believe it to be true. Of course, these are the popular, sort of the mainstream theories. And the next one of the very top rung is Loras is dying. So, some context. During a feast for crows, Cersei sends the Red Wine fleet to attack Dragonstone, which is still held by supporters of Stannis Baratheon. Who holds it specifically? I cannot remember the name of the person who holds Dragonstone right now, but someone holds it. Is it a bastard? It might be a bastard. Anyway, someone holds it, and the Red Wine, the Tyrells are annoyed because they think that the Red Wine fleet should go to the Reach and attack and defend it against the Ironborn. And then the Red Wines do end up, packs of Red Wine and the Red Wine fleet do end up going to the Reach, and Loras is put in charge of the attack of Dragonstone, and instead of sieging it, he goes for short-term tactics, and he just outright attacks, and he leads the vanguard, and he slays lots of people, and thousands die. It's a big, brutal, bloody battle, and supposedly Loras is punctured by several arrows, he's beaten up by a mace, and he has boiling oil poured on him while trying to push through the gates of the castle. And he's in a horrible position, and he is dying, perhaps even dead by this point. Now, this information... Do I actually have a reverse? Wait, I'm not sure if I actually have a reverse saying that Loras is alive. Do I have that? Let me just double check. Yes, I do have that, so I won't go into that too much. But the theory here is that Aurain Waters is right. So Aurain Waters tells this to Cersei Lannister. He's the one who informs her that Loras is dying, and then she informs Margaery about it. So Aurain Waters is the Master of Ships and the Lord Admiral appointed by Cersei herself to replace Mace Tyrell, because Cersei thinks he's hot and looks a bit like Rhaegar. So, again, these ones are nice and easy. These are nice and quick. Is Loras dying? I mean, why wouldn't he be dying? Aurain Waters told Cersei, and Cersei, he's out of the picture, isn't he? Another poll jumping out into the chat, so feel free to vote on that. Could Brienne be the younger, more beautiful queen? Yeah, that's another theory. That she will somehow... her actions will somehow take down Cersei, even if it's indirectly, by preventing, Jaime from saving her or whatever. And the younger, more beautiful, her name is Brienne the Beauty, which is a mocking nickname, but of course, in the sense of her character and her personality, she is more beautiful than Cersei, because she's brave and honourable and courageous. Okay. Oh, this is the first time the voters have disagreed with what the narrative has presented to us. The no vote is winning by 74% with 34 votes in. Yes is on 26. So most of you are saying no, Loras isn't dying, it's a lie. Aurain is lying for some reason. Cersei does not have the right facts. Yeah, that's it. Roland Storm, thank you. Roland Storm is the bastard who's currently holding Dragonstone for Stannis. Yeah, shout out to my Aurain Waters video that I did months ago, in the early days of Fantasy Haven. It was called Aurain Waters, the Sigma of Westeros. That was a dumb one, but a fun one. Okay, I'll end the poll there. Most of you are saying that no, it's a ruse, it's a lie. Loras is not dying at all. Cersei's being lied to. Let's move on to the next theory then. So the next theory, we've reached the iceberg itself, and here we have a nice picture of the Tyrell family. Not the show one, but the book one, with Willis and Garland the Gallant, as well as Alarie Hightower, the wife of Mace Tyrell. So, the first theory here is Taena is a Tyrell puppet. So, there's a character called Taena of Myr, a Myrish woman who's married to Lord Orton Merryweather. So she's Taena Merryweather. She's very exotic and beautiful, and the men of the court are enraptured by her appearance and so on. And Orton Merryweather, her husband, is a Reach Bannerman. And Cersei sort of befriends her during a feast for crows. And I think she's a lady-in-waiting for Margaery. And it's kind of interesting here. So Cersei knows that Taena is married to a Tyrell bannerman. She knows that Taena could easily be a spy, and so she sort of brags about it, saying, yes, of course I know she's a potential spy, so I'm going to feed her false information on purpose, and I'm going to let her give me information about Margaery. And it seems very sort of mixed up and confusing, where Cersei believes everything that Taena tells her, and Cersei feeds Taena like actual stuff, like grows to genuinely trust her. It's almost like her narcissism at play, like clouding her judgment, to the point where she's genuinely treating Taena as like a trustworthy ally, despite herself thinking that Taena is a Tyrell puppet. Like at one point, Taena outs one of Cersei's maids. She says, one of your maids called Sinel is a Tyrell puppet, just to let you know, because I'm on your side now. And then Cersei trusts her a bit more. So the theory here is not that. It's not that she's a Tyrell puppet that has come onto Cersei's side. The theory is that she's been playing Cersei since the beginning. That Cersei knew she was a puppet, but then grew to trust her after she outed Sinel and so on. But the whole time, Taena never drifted to Cersei. She's always been feeding her false information on behalf of the Tyrells. Now, there are other theories that Taena works for other actors, like perhaps Littlefinger or Varys. But this is specifically, she's a Tyrell puppet. She's been working for the Tyrells the entire time. And she's been feeding Cersei false information deliberately to fuck with her plans. And of course, everything Cersei reveals to Taena, she has been telling to Margaery and the Tyrell, so that they can preemptively deal with that stuff. Now, I don't know what the deal with Taena is myself, personally. I've seen a convincing theory that she works for Varys, and that she's there to sow general chaos in King's Landing. But it could easily be that, yeah, she is a Tyrell spy that Cersei trusts too much. So I will put it to a vote, though. Taena is a Tyrell spy, yes or no? She talks about the coin to make the Tyrells look bad. Yes, there's a coin that's used in. It's like it has a Gardener King on it, so like it's an old Reach coin that's found in the Black Cells, and I think Qyburn finds it, and the implication seems to be that Tyrion was paid by the Tyrells to assassinate Tywin and freed by the Tyrells, and it's clearly Varys, as in his Rugen persona, who placed the coin there to throw them off the scent. And Taena does talk about the coin, so why would she? That's a good point. Why would she? Why would she imply that the Tyrells are responsible for Tywin's death? Why would she push Cersei's paranoia? The only reason she'd do that, surely, would be to serve Varys, who wants to stir up chaos. Yeah, lots of people in the chat are saying they think she works for Varys and not the Tyrells. Although most of the votes say yes to her being a Tyrell spy. 59% say yes, she's a Tyrell spy. 41% say no, she's not. And now that no could be, I don't know, it'll be interesting to see how many of you think it's because she's unironically 100% working with Cersei, or whether she's actually with Varys. Or she's just acting for herself and going where the wind blows, Didn't she sleep with Cersei? Yes, she does. She will put Varys on the throne, making him queen. Brilliant. Brilliant. Ooh, interesting point. Someone said it could be that Gurm wanted to show how minor characters can have their own interests in the world and they don't need to work for someone in particular. That Taina is she's going along with what she thinks can entrench her power and maybe make her a bit wealthier, help her position and her husband's position. She doesn't necessarily work for any individual person. I don't know. Okay, I'll end it there. Next up, we have... Now, this is a big boy here. House Tyrell will fall. So the idea here, and I've put it up here because I don't think it's a particularly controversial or niche theory. It's the idea that young Griff and the Golden Company and John Connington will be successful in taking King's Landing, taking the Iron Throne, at least temporarily putting Aegon VI on the Iron Throne. And as a result, House Tyrell will lose their power. They will fall from grace. Do excuse me. That might be the loud... That's like the noisiest plane interruption I've ever had in a live stream. That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. Okay. Yes, so the idea behind this is that basically... it sort of makes sense narratively for the trajectory of House Tyrell, that they are very, very opportunistic. They're always grasping onto power. They're rising in power. At first, they sided with Renly because they believe it's very likely he'll take over and he'll conquer King's Landing and Margaery will be queen. After he dies, instead of going with Stannis, they then go with the person they had risen up against, Joffrey Baratheon, and sort out a new alliance. And Mace becomes Master of Ships. And Paxter Redwine becomes an advisor on the council, as does Mathis Rowan, I believe, and Margaery becomes the queen, and lots of Tyrells have important positions, and Tywin talks about having Mace's uncle, Garth the Gross, take over the small council, take over the position of Master of Coin. And the Tyrell influence and power continues to grow and grow and grow. You know, that's their words growing strong. They are blossoming flowers in that regard. But they can only go too far before the House of Cards collapse. And the theory here is that once Aegon takes over, that's the end of House Tyrell. I don't mean extinction. I mean, their attempts to build and maintain power is all going to collapse. It's out with the old, in with the new. We're going to have new bannermen taking over, minor nobles rising to the top. People who are supporting Aegon's invasion will be rewarded. The Tyrells will be the old guard, the establishment, the status quo that will be overthrown and will lose all the power they had built up. Now, maybe they won't. There's a theory down here I'll talk about later, which is House Tyrell will join Aegon and the Golden Company. But for now, we'll go with this one, that they will fall. And again, I'm not talking extinction, like in the show, where apparently there are like 3 biological Tyrells and they will just die. No, I mean a fall from power, fall from grace. Maybe they even get to stay as Lord Paramounts. Maybe they don't. Maybe they get cast down. But either way, I think this is likely. I think the next stage of the story will see the Tyrell sort of slip from power in terms of the Iron Throne and, you know, the favour of the king and so on. I don't think they'll hold on. But we'll talk about the opposite later on. But what do you think? Let me know, vote in a poll. House Tyrell will fall, yes or no? I'm interested, because this could go either way. Let's see how it goes. Yeah, I think they will be ousted from power and their focus will be on begrudgingly accepting their new king, but also focusing on the Ironborn attacks and Euron. I think that, yeah, they will stay as an... Yeah. So I'll dive into the Friends in the Reach stuff a bit later. It kind of ties into this one, but the Golden Company do talk about having Friends in the Reach, and they are presented as being in opposition to the Tyrells. So... Oh, I missed out a good opportunity here. I could have had the very bottom iceberg theory be Bronn will take over Highgarden. Excuse me, sorry. Shout out to Bronn becoming Lord of Highgarden. That's the most ridiculous shit. Okay, 64% of people are saying yes, House Tyrell will fall, with 38 votes. I think we can wrap it up there unless everyone else watching decides to pile in. Yeah, no, that looks like a... We got 40 votes in, 62%. Not sure that's going to budge. It could do, but let's end the poll there. Perfect. Okay. So, next up, and this... So the next few sort of all link to the idea of House Tyrell falling. But this one is that Mace, specifically, will lose against the Golden Company. So, let me explain this one. So, there is an upcoming Battle of Steel. Supposedly, Quinn, the GM, actually has a video about how he doesn't think there's going to be a Battle of Steel. But the general idea is that the Golden Company are going to seize Storm's End, held by Sir Gilbert Farring, I believe. And Mace was marching on to Storm's End. He was previously trying to besiege it, but he left it after Margaery got arrested by the Faith, and he marched back to King's Landing. And he said he refuses to leave King's Landing until Margaery is safe and sound, until she's released. So when she is inevitably sort of released and judged innocent, presumably, he will then march back to back to Storm's End, and we will have a repeat of the first siege of Storm's End, except not really, because it won't be a siege, it will be a full-on battle. So I think there will be parallels here. The first siege of Storm's End is seen as a big victory for Mace Tyrell, in the sense that he surrounded the castle, he starved them. He'd never succeeded, admittedly. Yeah, no, not a big victory, because Stannis did hold on, but it's a big part of his reputation. The Battle of Ashford, where he defeated Robert, and the Siege of Storm's End, where he sat his army outside and he stopped the troops of Storm's End from leaving, and the Red Wine Fleet blocked it off from the sea, and he tried to starve them out. That's a big part of his history. So the idea is that... And a lot of this is supposedly stolen valour. It's him taking credit for Randall Tarly's actions, specifically the Battle of Ashford, not really the siege. But the idea is that he'll march on to do a second siege, because that's what he's good at, sitting on his arse and eating food. But instead, he'll be forced into a battle against the Golden Company, who will meet him in the field. They don't want to be held up in a siege, they want to go out and meet him. This time, he won't have Randall Tarly on his side, the big martial man. Instead, Mace the Ace, too big for his boots, will think he'll be able to... will think... He will be arrogant enough, I think. He'll be arrogant enough to be like, yes, I've got this, I'm the military mastermind. And he will lose to the Golden Company. Now, there could be a bunch of reasons for this. One is that apparently he was marching on to Storm's End before going back to King's Landing. He was marching with Mathis Rowan, Lord Mathis Rowan, one of his powerful bannermen, who was also with him during the first siege of Storm's End during Robert's Rebellion. And there are some theories that Mathis Rowan is loyal to the Golden Company, and he's on their side. And so potentially we could see a betrayal. We could see Mathis Rowan betraying Mace Tyrell and his army during the fight, or we can see a Battle of Agincourt parallel. Now, I believe this was raised by Brynden, I believe. Right, the Song of Ice and Fire theorist, who He deleted a lot of his accounts and channels and so on. Let me just double check that. Was it Brendan? Yes, Brendan Beefish. Yeah, I thought so. So yeah, Brendan Beefish, I won't go too deeply into it. This could be a whole video in and of itself, but the idea here is that the battle between Mace Tyrell and his forces versus John Connington and the Golden Company at Storm's End, that battle will play out much like the Battle of Agincourt, where the French severely outnumbered the English, and yet the English still won because they used different tactics. They used longbowmen, and it was also very rainy and very muddy. And yeah, the theory by Brendan Beefish is that it will kind of be like that. You can imagine, can't you, in your head, like a muddy, rainy battle where all of the heavily armoured Reach Knights are getting stuck in the mud, and all the horses are getting stuck, and the Golden Company have a better position, and they're using different tactics because they're from Essos. Maybe, arrows raining down on everyone, and so on and so forth. And again, maybe Mathis Rowan betrays Mace Tyrell, maybe he doesn't. But it could be a devastating defeat for the arrogant Mace, who is not as much of a military genius without his friend Randall Tarley helping him. And I even saw, I think one part of that theory said that. Let me just double check. One part of that theory states that Mace Tyrell may be captured. There we go. Yeah, let me just read out a section from this essay, actually. So, Battle of Agincourt concluded in a way that sent shocks through the system of chivalry throughout Europe. The French main force began fleeing the chaos of the battlefield, trampling more of their wounded and falling comrades in the process. More surrendered to the English. Unbeknownst to Henry, the battle was over, but he didn't know that at the time. Fearing that the French rearguard was preparing for a further attack, and knowing that the number of French prisoners he had on hand outnumbered that of his entire force, Henry panicked and ordered all but the highest-born French prisoners to be massacred, and many of his knights refused the order, and so he had to ask his archers to do it. So Brendan Beefish believed that this could go in a similar direction, where, capturing enemies, treating them chivalrously, it's a classic thing. But John Connington, who's a lot more bitter and jaded, and he has his foreign mercenaries, they're going to come in, and they're going to order the death of their captives. So they may they may capture Mace Tyrell during the battle, and instead of sparing him, they will kill him. And it's sort of that's a fun little thing there. We have the bitter, jaded, exiled knight coming back and being ruthless. And he's on borrowed time, of course, because of the grayscale. And he's acting ruthlessly, and he brutally defeats the Tyrell forces that outnumber his forces, and then he orders the execution of Mace Tyrell, who is from the Reach, which is sort of seen as the bastion of politeness and chivalry and classic knighthood. It's the birthplace of chivalry in Westeros. I believe it's one of the sons of Garth the Greenhand who supposedly invented the notion of chivalry according to the myths of Westeros. Yeah, that was a little bit rambly. I should have been a bit more prepared for that one, I think. But yeah, what do you think? Let me check the chat. And of course I'll throw out a poll. So yeah, Mace will lose against... I'll put John Connington specifically, because that sort of encompasses John Connington and the Golden Company. Oh, that initial burst of 100% for yes. The poll is out, so feel free to vote. Yeah, Boomless said, I like to believe the young Griff and John Con have Edric Storm with them to convince Storm's End garrison to surrender. This is part of the Zuma gang theory, of course. The idea that the Aegon the Sixth's invasion is basically the invasion of the Zumas. Gen Z are spreading to Westeros. You have Aegon, who's a 18-year-old, wants to be king. Potentially, he will capture Edric Storm from Lys, and he will use him as a ticket for the Storm's End garrison to surrender, and he'll put Edric Storm in power as the new Lord of Storm's End. He will legitimise him as Edric Baratheon, and he's just a child. Perhaps he has access to Tyrell Lannister, who will become the new Lord of Casterly Rock and Lord Paramount of the Westerlands, and Tyrell Lannister is about 14 years old at this point, so the Zuma invasion is coming in the Winds of Winter. No one believes me, but it's coming. Proper pronunciation of Agincourt, nice. Thank you. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should say Agincourt to annoy you. Yeah, I think Jon Con's definitely going to be... Oh, the plane. God damn it. I said the plane as if it's the same plane, like circling menacingly, trying to disrupt me. First, my Twitter DMs don't work. Now there's a plane circling my house. Musk has it out for me, I'm telling you. There's a conspiracy against Fantasy Haven. Anyway, yeah, killing captives would be counterproductive, because obviously you need captives to ransom, to hold hostage, and so on. So, yeah. Jon Con learned his lesson about chivalry after the Battle of the Bells. Yes, I think Jon Con will be, bitter, exiled, grieving, dying from grayscale. He will be very ruthless, and he's traumatized by the Battle of the Bells, and I think it's very obvious that something is going to go down in terms of Jon Connington sacking King's Landing, and then Benioff and Weiss took that and did their own thing with it and made it Daenerys, because the bells triggering her didn't really make any sense, but you can imagine in a book the bells of surrender go off and Jon Connington associates that noise with the Battle of the Bells and his dramatic defeat, and he thinks about Tywin's sacking and everything, and he just orders King's Landing to be sacked. Or maybe Jon Connington will order that thing after going a bit nuts, because he learns that Aegon is a Blackfire. Maybe Aegon is told he's a Blackfire and properly reveals it, and Jon Connington is like, wait, no, I'm not siding with you to get my land back. Well, not just to get my land back and so on. I'm with you because I was in love with Rhaegar, and you're his son, and you're like my son. You're the son I never had with Rhaegar, almost. And now you're a Blackfire. You're not Rhaegar's son, and he'll all just say, I don't know. Now I'm rambling. Now I'm going off track. Okay. 86% say yes. 86% of people say yes, Mace will lose against Jon Connington. The 14% who say no, I'm really interested. Why do you think no? What? How could that happen? You think in the story, Mace, he is Mace the Ace, I admit, but he will march against Jon Connington and the Golden Company at Storm's End and then defeat them. And then what? Is that like, is the invasion over? Or is it just a blow against the Golden Company invasion? But I don't know. Yeah. Gurm likes to pilfer through history, as he puts it, so why not take something from the Battle of the Bells? Jon Con is set up to be show Danny but more complex. Not many people have talked about Jon Con being a sort of like show Daenerys being a mixture of Daenerys and Jon Con. Maybe. Like people are still going down the whole, oh, Daenerys will go crazy, but it depends how, it'll be better paced or whatever, but maybe she won't go crazy. Maybe Benioff Weiss did just merge Jon Con and Daenerys. Oh, Agincourt should have a hard T. Agincourt. Oh, really? But it's French. I didn't know they... Agincourt. Fair enough. Hello, Quinn. Hey, Quinn, apparently you were chatting shit about me on Twitter, bruh. Apparently you were spreading filth. Starting beef in your DMs. He's in his criminal law class. Yeah, Quinn the GM is in law school right now. He's training to inevitably join my live stream where I assign real life crimes to A Song of Ice and Fire characters. So it's expensive for him to do that, but it's all for the sake of my channel and providing a good live stream. Okay. Oh shit! The poll's still going. I'll end the poll. 62 votes. People really wanted to vote in this one, or maybe it's that I actually gave people time to vote instead of ending it. But 84% say that Mace will lose against John Connington. Yeah, you're right. Someone said French doesn't have a hard T in their entire language. I don't trust you, Carl. It's not Agincourt, surely. Surely it's not Agincourt. It's Agincourt. I'm being messed with. I'm being trolled. Yeah. Quinn is training to become Saul Goodman. He's the Saul to my Gus. Our newer Song of Ice and Fire empire. Actually, no. Gus is like Alt-Shift-X. And then I'm Walter White. I'm going to come in and just fuck everything up. Right. Let's move on to the next one, shall we? Okay. Now we're in the deeper section of the iceberg. And here that is represented by a drawing or a painting, really, of Marjorie Tyrell, done by Bella Burgoltz, who did the Tyrion picture for Alt-Shift-X's thumbnail, the real Tyrion Lannister. Very good picture. It's sort of clearly an amalgamation of book Marjorie and Natalie Dormer Marjorie fused together. Excuse me, I just full on, that was just rude of me, I'm very sorry. Okay, so Friends in the Reach. So the theory here, this is based on a couple of lines that we hear. So let me read a couple of quotes for you. Laswell Peake. Oh, Laswell Peake works for the Golden Company, by the way. Laswell Peake rapped his knuckles on the table. Even after a century, some of us still have friends in the Reach. The power of Highgarden may not be what Mace Tyrell imagines. And another quote from John Connington. And whilst they dither... they put on a voice. And whilst they dither, we will send out word secretly to likely friends in the Stormlands and the Reach and Dawn. So, the idea here is that the Golden Company, as I said previously, have quote-unquote friends in the Reach and also the Stormlands and Dawn, but they have allies, people who will be sympathetic to their cause, whether that cause is Targaryen restoration or Blackfire restoration. So let's go through a few of the candidates, shall we? So for one, there is House Peake. So Lord Titus Peake is there. Somehow House Peake still exists. I don't know how. But House Peake consistently support the Blackfire rebellions and keep getting punished for it. There are numerous Peakes serving in the Golden Company. They've clearly gone into exile to push for the Blackfire claim. So let's say it is a Blackfire restoration and that young Griff is in fact a Blackfire. Well, that means maybe House Peake will rise up one more time to finally put a Blackfire on the throne, finally get their castles back, and to become the powerful house they've always craved to become. Who else? Oh, and of course, I talked about it earlier, Mathis Rowan, Lord Mathis Rowan, a very powerful bannerman. The only reason I can imagine for Mathis Rowan siding with the Golden Company is sort of a meta reason, which is that he is marching with Mace Tyrell to Storm's End, and if he's there, then he's able to betray them, and he's able to join his forces with the Golden Company. So, in terms of motivation, other than that, I'm not sure. Maybe House Rowan just see it as an opportunity to become the new Lords Paramount of the Reach, to overthrow the Tyrells and take Highgarden for themselves, maybe. But we don't know enough about the Rowans for that to be satisfying narratively, I think. It'll be kind of random. If we're like, we have the support of Mathis Rowan, and we've taken the Iron Throne, and young Griff is like, oh, cool, Mathis Rowan is now the Lord Paramount of the Reach. It'll be like, who the fuck is Mathis Rowan? Most readers would be like, wait, who? He's just a dude. Which leads me on to the other contender for a traitor in the Reach, a Golden Company supporter, that being Randall Tarly, the father of Sam Tarly, which I think works better. So there's more evidence here. So first off, if he does support young Griff, and then young Griff makes him Lord Paramount of the Reach, that's really interesting, because we have met Randall Tarly via Brienne. We know about him from Sam Tarly. We've met him via Kevin Lannister as well in the epilogue. So that's a character we actually know about becoming Lord Paramount, which sort of puts a spanner in the works, doesn't it? That kind of ruins my Zuma theory, because you could have Tyrek in charge of the Westerlands, Edric in charge of the Stormlands, Aegon on the throne, but then you have like the strict dad, Randall Tarly. Severe dad energy in Highgarden. Yeah, it doesn't really work, does it? But in terms of why he would do this, well, for one, maybe he's pissed off at Mace Tyrell. Mace Tyrell being a blustering buffoon who keeps stealing Randall Tarly's glory and infamously stole his valor, you know. Well, supposedly, it's not necessarily confirmed, but supposedly is like, yes, it was me. I won the Battle of Ashford. I delivered Robert's only defeat. Haha, I'm so great. When it was actually Randall Tarly who did all the work, and he may be pissed off about that. Maybe he's going, you know what? I'll kick your fat ass out of Highgarden and take it for myself. Also in also worth noting that he's married to Melissa Florent, who's Sam Tarly's mother. And the Florents have currently been stripped of Brightwater Keep because they all have sided with Stannis Baratheon, because he's married to a Florent, and so they probably believe that siding with Stannis... Initially they side with Renly, but then Stannis, and they believe that if they side with Stannis, they can be given the Lord Paramountcy of the Reach once he takes the Iron Throne. However, Melissa is married to Randall Tarly and lives with Randall Tarly, and Randall Tarly is loyal to the Iron Throne because he's loyal to the Tyrells. So Brightwater Keep could pass to his wife, which would make Randall Tarly Lord of Horn Hill and Lord of Brightwater Keep. And the Tarly line would own two major castles and plots of land, Horn Hill and Brightwater Keep. However, the crown, the Iron Throne, does not give Brightwater Keep to Randall Tarly's wife. They give it to Garland Tyrell. So maybe Randall sees this as a way of, if not becoming Lord Paramount, at least seizing Brightwater Keep for his wife. So there's a few reasons there. Oh, and one final thing I do need to bring up. In the epilogue with Kevin Lannister as the Lord Regent, when they're discussing Aegon's arrival and the Golden Company and so on, Randall is the most dismissive. You could argue he doth protest too much. He's very much like, ugh, who is this young Griff anyway? This Golden Company, they're nothing, we can defeat them. Maybe he's just, arrogant military man that we know him to be, Randall Tarly. Or he's deliberately lulling them into a false sense of security because he's on their side. Perhaps. So, I guess I'm not going to put this one to a vote because I guess it's overall it's like a fact that they have friends in the Reach because they've said we have friends in the Reach. So it's not really a theory, it's more who are the friends in the Reach. So let me know now. I won't put it to a vote, but just let me know who do you think in the chat, who do you think are loyal to the Golden Company and John Connington and young Griff? Is it Randall Tarly? Is it Mathis Rowan? Is it House Peak? Could it be the Hightowers maybe? I heard someone say the Hightowers earlier. Let's have a look. The hard T absolutely exists in French, pronounced Tour de France. Okay, the hard T at the start of a word, fine, but you don't have a hard T at the end of a French word, right? It's Agincourt, it's not Agincourt. I don't believe you. The soft T is a pseudo-French Anglo effect. They love mispronouncing things like... like lieutenant. And fillet. I mean, that's just a fact, bro. Yeah, I can't justify that. I'm sorry. I cannot justify why my fellow countrymen pronounce lieutenant as lieutenant. I'm not sure why. It just is. It's just how it be. It's just how it be, I'm afraid. Oh yeah, Jesse. Who's the... If Quinn is Saul and I'm Walter White and Alt Shift X is Gus, the original. Who's Jesse? Who's my sidekick? We'll find a sidekick. House Ironwood love the Blackfires. Oh yeah, they say friends in the Reach, but I think all of Dawn is going to side with young Griff. I think that's where it's going. Not Daenerys. Duran is going to side with young Griff, and Arianne will marry young Griff. And so House Ironwood... I guess House Ironwood will, like, push for... Yeah, I don't know. I think House Ironwood will just go with wherever Duran is going. Mathis Rowan expressed sympathy towards what happened to Elia and Aegon. Oh, interesting, yeah. Perhaps that's a little clue seeded in there. Fair enough. I'm so glad we don't have Bittersteel in the chat. So sad, sorry, not glad. I'm sad we don't have Bittersteel in the chat right now. All this talk of young Griff and Targaryens and Blackfires, they'll be going crazy. Griff and the boys have a white boy summer with Randall and John Connor's chaperones. That's what the invasion is. It's just a white boy summer. Randall Tarley joining young Griff would be incredibly fitting. That would be cool. Young Griff needs more of a crew. He hasn't got enough of a crew. He's got, like, Rolly Duckfield and, like, Holden the Half-Maester and Varys and Illyrio. He's got, like, some interesting characters, but, like, not many. And he needs some more allies. Also, one thing I do want to talk about. One thing that I really don't understand. So... Before Harry Strickland took over the Golden Company, it was ruled by Sir Miles Toyne. Miles Toyne was meant to be this, super charismatic, cool guy. And he's descended from House Toyne, and of course, House Toyne were... I don't even know if they still exist as a noble house, but a member of House Toyne was tortured to death by Aegon the Fourth, and other members of House Toyne then tried to assassinate him, but they failed. So, House Toyne may have a grudge against the Targaryens, and I don't know if any Toyne supported the Blackfires, but maybe Miles Toyne is, descended from the line of exiled Toynes who love the Golden Company and the Blackfires, and they want to do all this. But anyway, what's confusing to me is that Miles Toyne is dead. He died, and Harry Strickland took over. And so you have this super charismatic leader who dies, and then he's taken over by Harry Strickland, who is deliberately meant to be like a boring mercenary captain. Like, all of the sellsword captains are all like really super flamboyant, right? Like the tattered prince wearing all stitched together fabrics. Dario Naharis with the dyed blue beard and the golden moustache. They're all meant to be over the top. And then Harry Strickland is like a boring administrator. And I get that that's the point, that like it's a change of pace. But in the original drafts of Dance with Dragons, was it Cushing, from the Cushing Library? I can't remember, the recent leaks. As in a recent, like a few months ago. But Miles Toyne was alive and he was the current leader of the Golden Company. So what I want to know is, why did Gurm originally have the Golden Company be led by this like charismatic exiled, descended from potentially an exiled house or whatever, Miles Toyne? Why kill him off and then replace him with a boring guy? But keep him in the canon as the previous ruler. But I don't know, it's like, why? I don't get that. I don't get it. Why not keep him? Because then there aren't enough interesting characters around young Griff. And it's interesting that he decided to kill off the charismatic leader and replace him with some random bald guy called Harry Strickland who no one cares about. I don't know. It's odd. Okay, ramble over. Concurrent viewers. Did I seriously lose like 15 viewers talking about Miles Toyne? Damn, I really need to stay on track, don't I? What are people saying in the chat then? Yeah, the Florence And the Rowans, well, the Florents are with Stannis though, aren't they? The High Towers, yeah, High Towers ain't doing nothing till they dealt with the Ironborn. That's true. Their focus is the Ironborn right now. And yeah, his daughter is married to Mace Tyrell. Tarleys and Rowan seems to be what people are going for. Okay. Oh yeah, and there was a Toyn in charge of the Kingswood Brotherhood as well. Okay. Is the boring leader a device for young Griff to be... Sorry about the silence, I was reading through the chat. Is the boring leader of the Golden Company a device for young Griff to be able to take the spotlight? Maybe. Maybe Gurm wanted to streamline things. No, that's bullshit. The moment I said that sounded bullshit. Gurm never wants to streamline things. It just feels so unlike Gurm to have the leader of the Golden Company, which is meant to be this like big epic mercenary band with a really fascinating history, be led by some boring dude. Like deliberately killing off the original idea for a more interesting leader and putting a boring guy in charge. It's like, why? Why did he change? Hooray, everyone. Aegle Bittersteel made it to the chat. Round of applause. Okay, so let's move on to the next theory, shall we? This one. Willis Tyrell will meet Randall Tarley. This is an interesting one I thought of. So Old Town is going to soon will likely be under attack from the Ironborn and Euron Greyjoy. In the Citadel, we know there's Lazy Leo Tyrell, who is not really friendly with anyone, but he's part of that gang. You know, with Alaras the Sphinx and so on, and Pate, who is now Jack and Hagar, long story. But Leo is the son of the captain of the City Watch of Old Town, who himself is the uncle of Mace Tyrell. So the idea is that Lazy Leo will use his father to get out, basically escape from the city during the Ironborn attack, and that Sam and Alaras and maybe some other of his friends will be able to escape Old Town and retreat to Highgarden, where they will meet Willis Tyrell. And maybe at this point Mace has died against John Connington or whatever, and so Willis is the Lord Paramount. I don't know. But the idea is that Sam will end up in Highgarden and we will get to finally meet Willis, because he's the only Tyrell kid we haven't met yet. We've met Garland through Tyrion. We've obviously met Loras lots of times and Marjorie and so on, but we haven't met Willis himself. We've just heard about him. And the idea is that, well, Gurm said he was disappointed that Willis and Garland weren't introduced in the show because they have a big role in future books. That's what he said. But it's like, how can Willis have a big role when we've never even met him? You know, we're just going to hear about him doing stuff in the background. So I think Sam's going to meet him. And Willis will probably get along with Sam, where every step of the journey he's always been, you know, super insecure about himself, and he's self-pitying, and he's mocked and so on. And obviously, as I've ranted about before, I'm not a huge fan of Sam's character growth throughout the books. I prefer it in the show. I think I'm getting really fed up with the self-pity in the books. But this could be a good turning point for him, to meet Willis Tyrell, a super charming, likeable, powerful man who's like, hell yeah, I love books too. I'm also a bookish nerd. Nice to meet you. Where he can, you know, nerd out over some stuff. Maybe Willis will invite him to a game of D&D in Highgarden. Maybe they'll pour over some Warhammer 40k miniatures, do some painting. You know? Talk about the next season of House of the Dragon. That could be fun. It's not a super big theory, but I think it would be cool for Sam to go to Highgarden and meet Willis. But will it happen? I'm not sure. What do you think? I'll put it in the chat. Sam... So I'll just put Sam meets Willis. Will Sam Tarly meet Willis Tyrell? The poll is in the chat. Feel free to vote and let your thoughts be known. Miles Toyne was John Conn's boyfriend and or friend with benefits. Ooh. Interesting. Maybe. Um, 85% are saying yes. So you like my theory. That's cool. With 43 votes in. Cool. I know, he also... People are saying he also needs to travel to Horn Hill because he needs to face off against his father at some point. But Randall Tarly is currently at King's Landing because he's serving as Master of Laws. So, who knows? Can we get a how many people hate Leo Tyrell poll? I mean, they'll just be 100%. 100% no, because Leo is based. Am I right? I quite like my character design for Leo. He popped up in my Tyrell video for a few seconds. I gave him like the kind of douchey swoosh over the eye. I love how in all my streams it's like 90% of the chat are people talking about the video and then 10% is always some like different irrelevant debate happening between like 2 to 3 people. It's lots of fun. Willis either marries Ariane or is burned by Euron. You have a swoosh over your eye. Yeah, no, it's fine. I'm just taking the piss. So 83% say yes, Sam will meet Willis. Yeah. Right, so let's move on to the next one. We're moving down to the next stage of the iceberg, which is represented by people asking why this picture was here earlier. I don't know what you mean. This is just a picture of Marjorie from the show. This is Natalie Dormer. It's a screenshot of Natalie Dormer from season 3, I think. Okay, so the next theory is House Tyrell will join Aegon. So all my other things I've been talking about how House Tyrell will be pushed out of power in King's Landing and the Young Griff will take over and Tyrells will be betrayed by their bannermen. Maybe someone else will take Highgarden or, you know, the House of Cards will collapse. Maybe that's not true. Maybe the opposite will happen. Maybe House Tyrell will actually side with Young Griff. And of course this ties into the next theory about Marjorie marrying Aegon, so I'll have them as separate things, but you know, part of that alliance could be a marriage. And I think the main piece of evidence for this is that the Tyrells have proven themselves to be opportunists, and maybe they will be able to ditch Cersei in time and be like, yep, come in, we're on your side now, screw it, marry Marjorie and we'll throw our full weight behind you. But maybe they're a bit too integrated with the Lannisters right now. The only one who's cucking them out of maximum power right now is Cersei. So maybe their plan is get rid of Cersei, then deal with Aegon, you know. So will they join Aegon? I'm going to put that to a vote straight away because there's not really much else to say about that one. Will House Tyrell join Aegon? Yes or no? And then, of course, yeah, the poll is out in the chat right now, so feel free to vote for that. And, of course, that leads into the next theory, which is Marjorie will marry Aegon. So this is just part of the if the Tyrells form an alliance with Aegon, hey, Marjorie, you marry young Griff. It turns out Cersei was right, but she caused, in classic fashion, she caused her own downfall. In classic self-fulfilling prophecy fashion, Cersei causes her own... she causes herself to be overthrown by a younger and more beautiful queen, and it is in fact the woman she had in mind all along, but she caused it by trying to prevent it, and that being Marjorie Tyrell, who goes from marrying Renly to marrying Joffrey to marrying Tommen. Having her marry a fourth time is kind of funny, and you can kind of see her jumping from king to king. So 60% of people so far are saying no, House Tyrell will not join young Griff. That's not going to happen. But it's 60-40, it could change. I'm going to hold off for a little bit, let the votes come in. It could shift. We don't yet know. Boombler said, Willis will call Sam Samwell the Gallant, and it will have the same effect it had on Garland, and Sam will have a massive glow up, become a handsome knight. That's what I can see that happening. I can see Garland being like, you're not, Sam the Slayer? No. Don't fall for people's, nasty, sarcastic nickname. You're Sam the Gallant. You're Sam the Chad. And then it's going to cut to a montage where Sam's like pumping weights. He's running around Highgarden. He's sweating. Willis is like shouting on from the sidelines, like leaning on his cane. He's like shaking his head wistfully, like, there's my boy. And by the end of it, Sam's just like fucking buff, and he's like holding Heartsbane. He's like, let's go. Let's fight the White Walkers. Some cheesy 80s song is playing in the background. Gotta rise up against the White Walkers. And then like Sam's like running through the maze. Dun dun dun. He's like punching meat. He's punching Aurochs meat. Like it's still 60-40. But the votes are still coming in, so I'll let them come in for a little bit longer. Oh, interesting. Flippy Dippy Doo said Highgarden is confirmed to appear in The Winds of Winter. Okay, well, if it's appearing, yeah. Sam is the only character currently in the Reach. The only POV character currently in the Reach, so that makes sense. Unless I guess Aeron Dampere strung to the tied to the prow of the Silence is kind of in the Reach, I guess, but it doesn't really count. Okay, I'm going to end the poll because it looks like 50 votes with basically, most people saying that no, House Tyrell will not join Aegon. So let's do the other one, which is, will Marjorie marry Aegon? Which doesn't necessarily mean, oh wait, no, I put that in the option, not the question. Okay, that doesn't necessarily mean the Tyrells will side with young Griff. They could be forced out of power, but there could be some sort of compromise that takes place where he ends up marrying Marjorie. Cersei's prophecy is self-fulfilled. Marjorie goes on to her fourth king, blah blah blah. A bit of a Rohan Weber situation there. Yeah, Sam being fit. Sam being fat makes no sense. This man, I get it. He's fat. He's a comfort eater. He's a George R. Martin self-insert. But he's been sent to the wall where there's barely any food. It's cold. He's marching north. Fist of the First Men. Then he has to escape. Then he's sent to Old Town on like a rickety old boat. This man should be thin. He should be thin. And he needs to stop moaning about being fat. Because that man should not be thin. I want to see some art now of like Sam Tarly doing a training montage while Willis watches on. Sam the Swole, yes. Okay, Bitter Steel in the chat says he's sad that he missed the Golden Company part. A very loyal and chivalrous band of exiles, founded by a loyal, strong and handsome man. Everywhere he goes, he spreads his Blackfire propaganda. Even on my anniversary, like, live stream, my teaser for the live stream, he was like, happy anniversary, well done, Fancy Haven. And then he said something like, long live House Blackfire or something. He's like, damn it. He can't let the bit go. Okay, 80% of people are saying, no, Marjorie won't marry Aegon. So, 40 odd votes in. Wait, what? Your commanding officer told you to come in for a hunt, but no, you're watching Fantasy Haven. What's the context there? What's your job? Your commanding officer wants you to hunt, and you're like, nah, I'm watching Fantasy Haven talk about House Tyrell. Like, what? Sam the Seducer. Ooh. Sam and Willis? Maybe that's why Willis hasn't married. Okay, I'm ending the poll there. Most of you think Marjorie will not marry Aegon. I'll have a quick pause to shill my stuff. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, etc, etc. Spank my butt if you want. If you have any questions or you want me to read out something dumb, send me a cheeky super chat. It helps support the channel because at the end of the day, this is my job. And if you want to support it in another way, check out my Patreon for, to join the lowest tier, £2. You can join the Patreon Discord and have access to teasers and updates and announcements. Higher tiers, you can get behind the scenes footage, you can get the Hightower extended video, the exclusive History of House Dane animated video. Even higher, you can get exclusive Fantasy Haven art from me, including wallpapers and me making art of whatever you want. So I can do a Fantasy Haven version of you, and the highest tier I can cameo in my videos. But you don't have to support me if you can't afford it. You can just support me by watching, liking, commenting, all that stuff. It's up to you. And people keep asking me about merchandise, and you know what? I wanted to do it this month, maybe next month. Because I'm busy this month, but this or next month I would like Fantasy Haven merch. Because, like, my characters are just made to be, like, I don't know, pins, fridge magnets, on a mug, on a t-shirt. Shout out to the dog, by the way. Plushies. Exclusive plushies. That could be fun. Okay, concurrent viewers. Oh, they dropped. They didn't like the shilling. Oh, no. Okay, that's enough nonsense from me. When you're a YouTuber, you always have to do that stuff. You're going to keep the lights on, bruh. What's next? Let's go into the next theory. So we're moving on from Natalie Dormer in basketball uniform to Mace the Ace in his suspiciously plastic-looking armor. I am sorry about that dog. Like I said, it's not my dog. It's getting a bit annoying. I swear they don't walk that thing. Okay, Willis is a mastermind. So this one is pretty simple. This is just the idea that we haven't met Willis Tyrell, and we're constantly being told that he is, a nice man. He's nice, he's friendly, he's charming, blah, blah, blah. But Littlefinger calls him boring. Littlefinger says he's bookish and he's friendly, but he's boring. And Olenna praises him and really likes Willis. And so I think you could construe this as Willis being a mastermind, being, inheriting Olenna's genes, being the smart one of the family. One, because it's funny for Littlefinger to call him boring when, if it turns out that Willis is actually a second Littlefinger. And then Olenna praising him so highly when she calls her own son an oaf. That could be because Willis takes after her grandmother. Willis is a smart boy. And if Mace Tyrell dies and he becomes a new Lord Paramount, he's going to be bringing his brains to the forefront. And maybe we'll witness that through Sam Tarly travelling to Highgarden. I don't really have any other evidence here. I don't even know if I want to put this to a vote. It's just kind of it's just a fun little spin on things. Maybe he's a really smart guy. It's not even that much of a theory. Oh, yeah, no, we won't do a poll on that. We will go on to the next one, which is Garland Tyrell will slay Harris Harlaw. Now, I think some of you may be thinking, hold on, sorry, what? Who's Harris Harlaw? Is he one of the dozens and dozens of boring Ironborn characters? What are you talking about? Well, let me explain. So Harris Harlaw is known as Harris the Knight. He is the Knight because he's not of the Night, he's not Darkstar, he is the Night. Because, of course, the Ironborn follow the Drowned God. So it doesn't make sense for them to be knighted, because knighthood is intrinsically linked with the faith of the Seven. However, Harris Harlaw he worships the Seven, I believe, or at least he has been knighted. And that's so rare that his nickname is literally the Knight. And he has a Valyrian steel sword called Nightfall. I can't remember whether that's his or whether he stole it from someone. I can't remember. But what happens in the story is that Sir Harris Harlaw, so Roderick the Reader has no children, I believe, or his children are dead, and he's not going to have any more children. And so he wants his nephew or cousin, Harris. I'm sure I explained this in my Ironborn CK3 video. I can't actually remember it myself. But he wants his nephew or cousin or whatever, Harris, to be his heir. Roderick Harlaw doesn't like Euron at all. However, Harris clearly does. Harris supports Euron when he becomes king, and takes part in Euron's raid of the Reach. In particular, he attacks one of the 4 Shield Islands. So next to the Reach there are 4 Shield Islands. The northernmost one, I believe, is called Grey Shield, which belongs to House Grimm, and Castle Grimston is on Grey Shield. It's kind of an Ironborn sounding place, isn't it? But Harris Harlaw takes Grey Shield because he marches up outside of Castle Grimston and he says, "Give me the castle. I'm not going to attack you. I just want to take the castle peacefully. So send me, a member of House Grimm, to fight, and I will slay them. And once I've slain them, let me in the castle." So he's sort of, challenging them to a duel. And members of House Grimm come out and fight him. Apart from Lord Grimm himself, I think Lord Grimm flees, maybe. But Harris keeps killing them, and they don't give up the castle. They just keep fighting. Until he slays 7 members of House Grimm, and the Septon takes this as a sign that yes, they should open the gates. And the gates open, and with just 7 deaths, Sir Harris Harlaw comes in, and Euron names him the new Lord of Grimston and the new Lord of Greyshield. So now we have an Ironborn Knight who rules an entire island. Fast forward to Garland Tyrell. He is besieging Brightwater Keep, which is being held by, some Florent garrison, because Brightwater was given to him and he wants to rule it with his wife, Lynette Fossaway. But he abandons that siege because he wants to take back the Shield Islands from the Ironborn. So there is a theory that Garland will attack the Shield Islands and he will come face to face with Harris Harlaw, and perhaps Harris, being a knight, having maybe a different code to most Ironborn, will say, "No battle, come and face me, 1v1. And so Garland and Sir Harris Harlaw will fight, and they will have a one-on-one battle. Garland the gallant, the powerful, strong son of Mace Tyrell, the gallant will face off against the knight, one of the few Ironborn knights who wields a Valyrian steel sword, Nightfall, and then he will slay Harris Harlaw in battle." Again, this isn't something we would see because I don't know how we can get a POV there, but that could be fun. So I'm going to put that to a poll. But we're not finished talking about Harris Harlaw. There are other theories, there are other ways this event can go, but we will start with Garland Tyrell proves his gallantry by killing the knight. The question shall be, no, just put a statement. Garland slays Harris Harlaw. I really am the master of rambling, aren't I? I'm the master of repeating myself over and over. I've got to be more succinct. Haven has to be more succinct, doesn't it? What are people saying? Oh, someone wants a Fantasy Haven style plushie. Carl Carsnark said, "I've got to get merch. Your drawings are too good not to make infinite sway with." Yes, I think I do have an advantage over other YouTubers, in the sense that, like, if you're just talking about Song of Ice and Fire, what kind of merch can you sell apart from a couple of catchphrases? But with me, it's like I've got my own special art, and I can't sell a Song of Ice and Fire art specifically because I get in trouble, but I can sell, like, medieval fantasy stuff in my style, and then put it on mugs, t-shirts, plushies. That'll be fun. I'd wear that. And Christmas is coming up, so it's a perfect opportunity. Fantasy Haven lingerie. You better believe that's coming. Nightfall is from the Reigns of Castamere. No, it's not. We don't know whether the Reigns of Castamere ever had a Valyrian steel sword, but there is a different Ironborn Lord called Dunstan Drum, who owns a Valyrian steel sword called Red Rain, and people theorise that Red Rain is the ancestral sword of House Rain that was stolen during a raid or something. Yeah, Orphan Maker is the edgiest sword. What do we think? So 78% of people are saying yes, Garland will slay Harris Harlaw. If you hadn't voted, feel free to jump in and vote. Sorry, my voice is kind of my voice is being a little bit warbly today, isn't it? It's kind of jumping around all over the place. I'm sounding like Gurm if Gurm's voice had bass. So let me tell you about Stannis Baratheon. Oh, no, wait, no. How does he say? He says Stannis Baratheon. Stannis Baratheon. Stop pronouncing your names wrong, George. Come on. I once heard him pronounce Daeron Targaryen as Darren Targaryen, and I nearly broke my monitor. I was like, Darren? What do you mean Darren? Darren's a bloke down the pub. Who's Darren? Darren Targaryen. Let me do my Gurm laugh. Alright, that's enough. Oh god, what are these suggestions? Fantasy Haven thigh socks, Fantasy Haven body pillow. A Fantasy Haven body pillow would be quite funny. It's just my fucking character. Fantasy Haven hentai. Okay, I'm not selling that. Other people might sell it if I don't trademark my characters. Maybe I should do that. No official Lucifer means Lightbringer plushies yet. Does David Lightbringer have merch? He has an interesting style. He's got that esoteric style to a lot of his thumbnails and videos and so on. I think that could sell quite well. It would certainly be cool to collab with David in the future. Maybe when I'm a bigger channel. From one ADHD YouTuber to another. Okay, so 72% of people are saying yes, Garland will slay Harris Harlaw. Fair enough. However, you didn't consider something. You all went for the vote, you didn't consider the opposite. What if Harris Harlaw himself slays Garland? And in this tier we have the Olenna Tyrell with the shades. So this is basically the same as the previous theory, except the outcome is different. Garland Tyrell is killed by Harris Harlaw. What's the difference here narratively, outside of an important Tyrell dying? That's why I have it as further down, because, you know, Garland dying to a random Ironborn, what's the point? Or maybe the point is that it is so pointless. He is Garland the Gallant, from the Reach. He is friendly, he's kind, he's nice to Tyrion. This is a genuine knight. He upholds the virtues of he upholds the virtues of actual knighthood, unlike many other characters like Gregor Clegane and so on. He is genuinely gallant. Not like many other characters where their reputation is built up and that's subverted in some way. As far as we know, Garland the Gallant is a chivalrous man from a chivalrous realm of Westeros. What would happen if such a man were to unceremoniously be slain by an Ironborn scumbag in single combat? That could, you know, help represent Euron's forces, you know, being ushered in, the ushering in of villainy against chivalry. You know, the death of chivalry, the death of gallantry, the death of nobility. No, we have Euron and his pack of reavers and raiders and rapists coming in with their dark magic, with their eldritch apocalypse. What best represents that? Beyond the destruction of Old Town, right? The nexus of academia and faith and education and religion. Other than that, the death of the gallant knight himself. So, have I changed any opinions? I'll put that to a vote. Do you think that Harris Harlaw will slay Garland Tyrell instead of the other way around? Let me know. What if they both die? I don't actually have that as a theory. Okay, the poll is out, by the way, so feel free to vote. But no, I I didn't have that as a theory. They both kill each other like a certain pair of twins in Westerosi history. They fall on each other's swords. That's interesting. We're the only fandom that tells the author how to pronounce his own names. Because he comes up with amazing names that sound really good when pronounced with an English accent. And then when he pronounces them with his goofy-ass accent, it's always just off. Like, oh, I'm sorry, Stannis, Sansa, Dothrakai. He just does it wrong. Darren, Aegon. Oh, Aegon. I hate that. It's Aegon. Grr, I'm so angry. I'm not really. The votes are close. This is the closest we've had, actually. 45 to 55. That Harris Harlow will kill Garland Tyrell, which means some of your opinions were changed. Interesting. Keep voting, see if we can, if that will stay the same. Yeah, Harris said that also. I did call him a scumbag. I guess what I'm saying is he represents the villainy of Euron's army. That maybe he's a good guy. Well, not a good guy. Maybe he's a okay guy. But Garland dying to him is representative of the Ironborn destroying the Reach. It's the personification of that, I guess. You want to put Fantasy Haven characters on your gun? Go ahead. Go ahead. Hey, you join the Patreon, I can send you a piece of art. You can print that out, put it on your gun. Show no mercy. Oh, 47 to 53%. 47% say yes, 53% say no. So we're getting the same outcome as the last vote, but I'll leave it up for a little bit longer. Yes, it will be. You're right. Boomler said it will be an incredibly cynical message. And also, Garland is like one of the best fighters in Westeros right now. That's true. Gurm can be cynical sometimes, though. If you're wondering why I'm answering certain people in the chat, even though they're not doing super chats, that's because they're usually my patrons, and I sort of, if there aren't any super chats, I will prioritise messaging my patrons, because of course they're supporting the channel in a big way. Um, 48-52. Oh, it's getting tight. It's getting tight. Bum. Oh yeah, he says Cersei. I'm okay with Cersei. I don't mind Cersei being pronounced as Cersei. I'm okay with that. I can't stand Aegon. I can't stand it. AEG should be AE is A. It should be Aegon. Aegon Targaryen. Aegon sounds so. Oh, it's just egg on. Aegon Targaryen. It sounds so dumb. And the show pronounced it Aegon until like a few seasons in, where suddenly they switched. They did a hard switch and they all started saying Aegon. And I think that's because George told them and it was like, you're pronouncing it wrong. It's like... But you have the A-E-M-O-N for Aemon, but that's Aemon. Why is it Aegon but Aemon? It should be Aemon. Aegon, Aemon, Haegon, Aemond. Do we call Aemond Aemond? No, we call him Aemond. I am untethered and my rage knows no bounds. The match will be between Garland and Euron. That could be cool, actually. That's not one of my theories, but that would be a cool fight. And if that happened, Euron would have to kill Garland. Garland's not killing Euron. No. Garland's not a big enough character to kill someone like Euron. And that could be, actually, that could be a better portrayal of chivalry being butchered by Euron, if he himself kills Garland the Gallant. And also, yeah, the fan art of that would be incredible. Redbubble could be good for merch. Maybe. I'm looking into some stuff. For merch. Oh, thank you for the super chat from Flippy Dippy Doo, who says... who asks me, who's the most bangable / breedable Tyrell? No Natalie Dormer. Okay, right. Most bangable for me, so I'm straight, so I'm gonna go with a woman. You're not leaving me much choice here. I'm not going to say Olenna as much as you clearly want me to say Olenna. Okay, hold on. I'm doing a deep dive here. You send in a super chat, I'm going to do my research. I'm treating this seriously. Let's look at the family tree, shall we? Okay, so Mace Tyrell has 2 sisters. Janna Fossaway and Mina Redwine. Let's see. Janna is buxom and enjoys gossip. That's my answer. Janna Tyrell is the most bangable Tyrell, other than Marjorie. There we go. Are you happy now? You wanted me to say Olenna? Well, you lose. And if we're going the other way, if we're going men, probably Loras, right? I know that's a bit of a boring answer, but Loras. Oh, Aegon debate in the chat. Oh no, what have I done? Aegon toast. Key says they're unsubscribing right now. Key, please don't tell me you're an Aegon person over Aegon. Please no. Come on, Key. I thought I could trust you. Aegon? There's no way. Aegon? Egg? No, I refuse. I refuse, sir. Okay, the no's have it. 54% say no. Harris Harlaw will... Oh, I didn't say will kill, I just said will. Harris Harlaw will Garland Tyrell. Well, that could have been interpreted in many different ways. Okay, let's move on. Oh, what's this? We're sticking on with it. Garland and Harris will team up. You didn't see that coming, did you? Little Chad Mace over there. Sunglasses Mace. Okay, let me explain. You're expecting the next one to be they kill each other, right? No, they will team up. Why would they team up? Because Harris Harlaw is working for his relative, Roderick the Reader. He is Roderick the Reader's heir. Roderick is a learned, erudite man. He's a good man. He's a magnanimous man. And he hates Euron and what Euron represents. And he's clearly plotting with other Ironborn to stand up against him in some way. So perhaps he tasked his relative Harris with taking an island, knowing that the Tyrells will try and seize it back. Maybe Harris will surrender the island and form an alliance and say, listen, the Shield Islands are yours again, but I'm going to work with you. And I'm working with Roderick and some other Ironborn houses, like perhaps House Drum, and we're going to take out Euron. And I'm going to feed you his plans because he trusts me. And so Harris will tell Garland what Euron's plans are. And the Tyrells will have an advantage. Do I think this is going to happen? No, it's way too specific and weird. And yeah, I'm not sure what it would achieve beyond the Tyrells knowing Euron's plans, but we barely know Euron's plans anyway, so I don't know why Harris Harlaw would, but I'll put it to a vote anyway. Will Garland and Harris Harlaw will team up. It'll be like the Predator meme. That's the fan art we'll get. They'll like hold hands, muscles bulging. The poll is in the chat if you want to vote on it. And thank you for the super chat from Memento Mori. I actually watched Memento a few days ago for the first time. Memento Mori says, maybe Harris and Garland are going to have an honourable duel, and Euron switches himself in the last second and turns it into a slaughter. Oh, I see. So in the same way that Harris wanted to honourably take over Grimston and the island of Greyshield by doing one-to-one duels with members of House Grimm, he will say, yeah, okay, Garland, 1-to-1. If I win, I keep the island. If you win... if I win, I keep the island. If you win, you keep the island. And they do an honourable duel, and Euron in some way interrupts and turns it into a massacre in some way. Yeah, he kind of ruins it, I guess. An honourable Ironborn. Harris Harlaw surely has more to do in the story. He's an honourable Ironborn. That itself is interesting enough. There must be something going on with him beyond surface level. Who knows, maybe Euron will warg Harris and then seduce Garland, like the Dusky Woman, all over again. Someone's booing me for being straight. Unbelievable. Straight, bisexual, what's the difference? It's the same thing. Okay. Oh, we've got a... No, we don't. Right, okay. Isn't the reader dead? No, the reader's not dead. Roderick the reader's still alive. I don't know why he's still alive. I'm surprised. Euron has killed quite a few dissenters. I don't know why Roderick is still alive, but there we go. Shall we move on to the next theory now? Oh wait, no, I haven't. Oh wait, no, wait. I ended the poll way too early, didn't I? 17 votes in. Wait, 17 votes in, 52% to 47%. Why did I end that poll? I think I accidentally ended the poll because I was like reading the chat. It must have been like in the way, and I just instinctively got rid of it. Like, okay, the poll's coming out again. My bad. The joy of the ADHD brain. There we go. The poll is back up. This time I won't stop it after 2 seconds. Bum bum ba-dum, bum ba-dum 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 ba-dum. Harris wants the Garlicy. I haven't created a brand new ship, have I? Garland Tyrell and Harris Harlaw. Please no. What's the Dusky Woman theory? I have a feeling you know exactly what the Dusky Woman theory. You just want me to say it out loud, don't you? Okay. There we go. The votes are coming in. 30 votes are in. Yes is winning by 56%. No 44. It's close. I mean, it was close last time when I stopped it for no reason. You generally don't know what the Dusky Woman... Okay, I'll bite. I'll take the bait. The Dusky Woman theory... There is a Dusky Woman within Victarion's ship, gifted to him by Euron, and every now and then Victarion has sex with her. And the theory is that Euron, among his many abilities, he's a warg, and that he wargs into the Dusky Woman every now and then, who's a mute, by the way, so can't say anything, wargs into her so he can experience himself being railed by Victarion, his brother. That's what the theory is. There's an even weirder theory, which is a classic one, which is that Tywin Lannister is the Dusky Woman. I can't remember what the logic behind that one is, but that's like one of the classic shitposty theories. that Tywin's the Dusky Woman. Okay, 58% are saying yes with 38 votes in. If anyone else wants to vote, you could change the tide in theory. I'll keep it up for a couple more minutes, but it looks like most people are saying yes, Garland and Harris will team up and unite. The Ironborn Knight, the Reach Knight. I've realised that when I raise certain topics, the chat goes absolutely wild and desperately needs to be bonked. My goodness. Okay, 40 votes in. I think I'll pause it there. Most people are saying yes, Harris and Garland will team up. Of course they will. Let's move on to the next theory, shall we? Next up we have Loras is alive, and also the Mace one. And the picture representing this is none other than Olenna Tyrell, when she was younger. This is the woman who seduced Luthor. Yeah, that's Dame Diana Rigg, rest in peace. That's her as a young actress, presumably during the TV show The Avengers that she starred in. Obviously not the Marvel Avengers, but something else. She was best known for The Avengers and also for that James Bond movie. What was it? On Her Majesty's Secret Service, I think. The one with George Lazenby, the Australian James Bond. Yeah. So I think I'm going to pop to the toilet for a bit. Do I have... Do I have a special, we'll be right back thing? I'm sure we do. I'm sure I do have that. I'm sure I have a we'll be right back, picture, just in case I ever need the toilet. While I'm looking for it, oh, are you kidding me? I'll find it. I'll find this boy. I'll find you. Your boy Lord Haven needs to piss off the edge of the wall, like Tyrion. Where is it? There we go, I found it. Haha, okay. Okay, so when I return, and trust me, I will return, we will talk about the theory that Loras Tyrell potentially is still alive, and not just still alive, but isn't even wounded. Let's see if I can... Oh. That's the wrong one. That was my Canva. Oh, this is just... This is just becoming incompetent at this point. Hold on. We got this. Where are we? Oh, I can do that. Oh, hello. I'm not going to lie, OBS is a bastard. There we go. Dunna. We'll be right back. Oh my god, that took me like 5 minutes. I should have just pissed myself at this point. It took me that long. Okay, I'll be back very shortly. And we'll talk about whatever. Mace Tyrell, Laura staying alive. That's it. Laura staying alive. It's chaos here. It's chaos, but that's why you come and watch me. You watch me for the chaos. I'll be back soon Boomer Haven. I'm not a boomer. Okay. Guess who's back in the house? Haven's back. Hello. We still here? What did I miss? I look at the chat and literally the first thing I see is someone saying, I want Cersei to sit on me. God damn it. What kind of viewership have I cultivated over the year? It's getting weirder and weirder. Okay, thank you for the super chat from Jace the Ace, who says, Mace, like all the aces, is a secret genius with 3 B emojis. Shout out to House Beesbury. In my 1 year anniversary live stream, I had some words to say about my boy Lord Lyman, and the chat went wild, and there were B puns everywhere. It was insanity. Bam, 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 bam. Okay, so Laura, the next theory. Oh right, yeah, I need to change it back, don't I? This will take another 10 minutes. Hold on. Haha, there we go. So the next theory is that Loras Tyrell is fine. He's alright. He's chill. Cersei was lied to. So, who tells Cersei that Loras Tyrell is still alive? It's Aurene Waters, who only got the position because he's kind of fit. And then what happens after Cersei gets arrested? He yeets and maybe becomes a pirate king. Excuse me, sorry. Does that sound like a trustworthy advisor who's telling you the truth and the truth only? No, it sounds like a slimy opportunist who may not be working for you. Another fun little piece of evidence I found in my research is that Miranda Royce in The Vale tells Sansa, currently disguised as Elaine Stone, tells her that Riverrun has been taken by the Lannisters and that Dragonstone will soon fall next. However, in the timeline, Aurene tells Cersei that Dragonstone has fallen before the Lannisters even take Riverrun. So why would Miranda Royce have information that Riverrun has fallen but Dragonstone hasn't, while Aurene tells Cersei that Dragonstone fell before Riverrun fell? Maybe messed up the timeline a little bit? Or maybe it's a hint that Dragonstone hasn't even fallen at all. In fact, that's 2 different theories. One of them is that Dragonstone hasn't fallen, one is that Loras is still okay. But we don't know. I'll keep it simple. I'll keep this one that Loras is alive as opposed to Dragonstone. The Dragonstone siege never even happened. So the theory here is that Aurene lied because he was being paid off by the Tyrells, who wanted to get Loras out of the picture because they were working against Cersei, and they thought Loras wasn't safe in King's Landing, or they were worried that if things blew up in Cersei's face and she ended up on trial, she could do a trial by combat, and then she would call upon Loras Tyrell to defend her because he's the best swordsman currently in the Kingsguard. However, if Loras is out of action, if he's dying of his wounds on Dragonstone, Cersei won't be able to call on him. So he's safe and he's out of the picture. So there we go. Right. Oh, whoops. Is there anything else? Anything else to this theory beyond Aurane lying? A few bits of information not adding up. The Tyrells basically messing with her to keep Loras safe and out of it. Is this true? I don't know. The Loras theory is one where I genuinely don't know the answer. Like, maybe, I think his death or dying as a result of Cersei being so obsessed with taking Dragonstone and I guess kind of wanting Loras to be fucked up could cause the Tyrells to turn against her even more than usual. It could sort of demonstrate how destructive she is in her narcissism. But it would also be a bit of an unceremonious death for Loras to just die off page rather. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Genuinely, it could go either way for me personally, but I'll put it to a vote. Loras is alive, yes or no? It's funny. I'll tell you that, it's funny. And when I first read the book, I took it at face value and I was like, oh damn, Loras. No. Bum bum. Oh, the yes is winning. Looks like people don't believe Aurane's lies. There we go, 79%. Oh, can it change? No, they're probably not going to change, is it? Feel free to vote if you want, but the yes side are running away with it. Did you wash your hands, Haven? Of course I washed my hands. Who do you think I am? Why do people say that was too fast? Yeah, I was being fast. I had a wee, I washed my hands, I dried my hands, I rushed back. I live in a flat. Like, I don't need to go to any stairs or anything. The bathroom's literally right next to me. Hear me piss. I mean, did you hear me piss? Let's just say there was another live stream I was in where I collaborated with someone, and the person I collaborated with accidentally had a hot mic incident where they went to the toilet and they didn't realise that the stream could hear them through their phone, and it was on their channel and they ended up deleting that section, but the chat went wild when that happened. Okay, yes, the yes vote winning with 82%. That's cool. Okay. Yeah, okay, so the next one is Mace Tyrell is a secret genius. I don't even know how long to talk about that one for. If you lunatics haven't already, I will say, check it out on Quinn the GM's channel. He has a video called Is Mace Tyrell a Genius? It's a collaboration with me. I keep getting distracted by the chat, sorry. It's a collaboration with me, where he argues that Mace Tyrell isn't a secret genius. I say he is. I don't want to go through all the points, but basically the idea is that Olenna isn't the mastermind behind House Tyrell. It is Mace, and he's projecting the image of a blustering buffoon, but actually he's super smart. He's the one who's improved Tyrell influence. He's got everyone on the court. By the end of A Dance with Dragons, the Tyrells are in a really strong situation. He's always jumping onto the winning side, first Renly, then the Baratheons and Lannisters. Him taking credit for military victories, that's not just being arrogant, that's a deliberate strategic move to increase his public perception, to improve his public perception, right? It's propaganda. Personally, I also, the secret genius kind of arose from the show more than the books, because in the show Mace Tyrell is basically an amalgamation of book Mace and book Harris Swift. So he's kind of a bumbling buffoon, and he's a bit of an idiot. Whereas in the books, he's not an idiot. He's definitely buffoonish, and he's definitely Olenna thinks he's oafish, but he's not like dumb. I think he's he's like a smart guy, but I think he's a blustering, arrogant but smart guy, but it's his mother who does most of the work. So there we go. But what do you guys think? All right, help if I put an actual poll in, wouldn't it? Mace the Ace is a secret genius. Do you guys like the poll system, by the way? Let me know. Is it like ruining the flow a bit too much? Would you rather I just went through all of them, or do you like being able to interact? I guess if people are watching this not live, they don't get to vote, but it's probably fun watching the votes come up and seeing what your take is. Seeing what the fandom's take. You're a little snippet, you're an extract of the fandom, aren't you? Seeing what you think about each of these crazy theories. Someone's talking about Valyrian nerds in the Song of Ice and Fire words are similar to Roman nerds. I mean, Daemon Targaryen in Hot D is basically like a Roman nerd. He's like obsessing over old Valyrian texts and like, we must return to tradition. Oh, yes is winning by 56%. The poll is out, by the way, for those who haven't voted. 56, that's not super... That could change. Is this... Okay, how much of this is unironic? Do you genuinely think Mace is a secret genius? Or are you shitposting because it's Mace the Ace? Oh. See, the thing is, he's built up as being... Everyone keeps talking about him as being a blustering oaf and a buffoon. But when you first meet him, like, properly have a... There's like a proper, longer interaction where it's Kevin and him. He does come across as more savvy than the narrative has previously presented him as. People like the polls. Okay, that's good. What do we have? Yes is winning by 36 votes, 56%. Hey, the question is not, is he an ace? We know he's an ace regardless of his IQ. I mean, is he a secret genius? Okay, I'm going to end the poll now. 56% say Mace the Ace is in fact a secret genius. You heard the truth here. And now we have the penultimate rung of the iceberg, represented by a piece of art by Ertak Altinoz. Check him out. He did art pieces of, I think it was every single like A Song of Ice and Fire, every single Game of Thrones character from the TV show. All the dead ones resurrected as whites, apart from the ones who were destroyed by fire, and then he did a separate art for that. So here he has art of Marjorie being destroyed by wildfire. I just thought it was creepy, so it belonged near the bottom. This one is Olenna didn't poison Joffrey. Aha, finally we have payoff from Olenna poisoned Joffrey. It felt like years have gone by since that. Okay. So what's the evidence for this? So the idea behind this is that the Tyrells... that it was too risky to poison Joffrey. That, Olenna doing the deed herself, plucking the gem out, putting it in wine, whatever... Way too risky. And also, why would they do it? There's no guarantee that Marjorie would marry Tommen. They had their Marjorie ready to become a queen. It was right there. Why would they risk it all just because the person she's marrying is a bit unruly and a bit of a bully and a bit of a psycho? Is that enough reason to risk regicide? And it did pay off, but does that mean they went for it? We don't know. So the theory here is that Littlefinger lied to Sansa because, Littlefinger doesn't tell the truth. The narrative doesn't always tell you everything you need to know. So Littlefinger lied to Sansa, and that the actual goal was not to poison Joffrey, but it was to poison Tyrion. I think this is the Preston Jacobs theory, which we'll go into in a bit, which is that Littlefinger wanted to poison Tyrion because, Tyrion was a big threat to him. And it's a little bit plot holey that Tyrion and Littlefinger kind of ignore each other for the entirety of A Clash of Kings, even though they both know that the other person knows that the other person knows that the other person knows that Littlefinger, did the whole dagger thing and basically triggered the War of the Five Kings in a way. And then they just kind of don't do anything about it. So it could be Littlefinger taking care of Tyrion, poisoning him, killing him off. But Joffrey, some people theorise that it was the pie that was poisoned or whatever. And so the idea is that Joffrey accidentally got poisoned, then Littlefinger utilised the chaos. And, and that the Tyrells weren't involved, but he pretended they were to Sansa because Sansa likes the Tyrells, so maybe it would endear him to her. I don't know. I haven't fully watched that video in full, I just know the essence of it. Personally, no, I think it is as it appears in the book. I think the Olenna Tyrell and Littlefinger worked together to kill Joffrey because the Tyrells wanted a friendly, weak puppet to be married to Margaery instead of a psychopath. But who knows? Do you guys agree? Do you think that Olenna didn't poison it and actually it was in fact Littlefinger doing it solo and pretending the Tyrells were involved? Maybe even not aimed at Joffrey at all, but aimed at Tyrion or whatever. So I'll add that to the poll. Olenna didn't poison Joffrey. Yes or no? Feel free to vote. Have I ever considered covering other fantasy stuff like Warhammer 40k or First Law or Lord of the Rings? Yes, absolutely. That's what this channel is going to become. It's going to become it's Fantasy Haven. I'm going to explore The Witcher. I'm going to explore First Law. Yeah, Lord of the Rings, Warhammer 40k. All kind of fantasy stuff. Maybe even sci-fi stuff as well. But we're starting out with the Song of Ice and Fire to get that base, But I can start spreading out soon. Okay, most people say no, Olenna. So, yeah, no to she didn't, which means she did. No, she did in fact poison Joffrey, which I think, yeah. Haven, hurry up and end the stream so I can start from the beginning and not lose my spot at work. Oh, yeah, you can't... Wait, you can start from the beginning. You can start... When the stream's live, you can still start it from the beginning. I've done that before. But the stream is near an end because there's one more theory after this. He choked on the pigeon pie. Oh yeah, the theory that he's allergic to pigeon. Or the best theory of all, which is that Joffrey walked into a pigeon. Right? Who agrees with that? Because obviously Robb Stark, the last thing he says is Grey Wind before he dies, and it's theorised that he walked into Grey Wind and killed a couple of people before being put down. Jon's last word is Ghost. The theory is that he will walk into Ghost, so while he's dead, his consciousness will be in this direwolf, which could affect him massively. Joffrey's last words, I believe, were, while suffering, while coughing, the last words he says are, the pie, before the choking takes hold and he can't say anything. And so therefore he walked into the pie as he died. The pie! And then he became a pie. And Joffrey was just a pie for a bit before being chucked in the bin. This is what No Wins does. Turns us insane. Okay, 66% of people are saying no, which means that they believe Olenna did, in fact, poison Joffrey, which I agree with. And because I agree with it, it's therefore correct. Okay, what are people saying? Yeah, it's not some Littlefinger lied to get Sansa on his side, someone said. Maybe. Or I think Littlefinger could have been like, oh, I tried to kill Tyrion, but it failed, because it's not like Sansa necessarily likes Tyrion that much. No, I think it would be smart, actually, for him to... If he accidentally killed Joffrey to pretend it was intentional, that would get him... Yeah. Elder Scrolls lore, that would be fun to do on my channel. Like the deep, weird, esoteric Elder Scrolls lore. I've seen Elder Scrolls Icebergs and they are like insane. Yeah, you're right. Natalie Dormer and Diana Rigg, they do look alike. It's cool. There's Diana Rigg. There's Natalie Dormer. That isn't even... there were other pictures, actually, that were better. That did a better job of showcasing that, but I chose that one. Thank you for the super chat from Jace the Ace, who says, I gotta go. Thanks for the quality content and inspiration. Thank you, Jace. Jace the Ace is someone who wants to start making videos on YouTube, so if you want to subscribe to him, go ahead, do that. That'll be fun. Right. Yeah. I'm telling you, I want to do more fantasy. Just checking the chat. I want to do more fantasy lore, but I was like, I need to start with one fan base. I know the most about Song of Ice and Fire. That's my jam. That's my jelly. So I'm going to go with that. And it's going well, and House of the Dragon will certainly give it a boost. But soon I got to expand. I've got to, put things together, work things out, plan things. I'm not great at future planning, but there we go. Right. One final theory. One final theory. The Grand Tyrell Conspiracy. Here we have Olenna. Show Olenna sitting over a chessboard. Let's see how this goes. So, what is the Grand Tyrell Conspiracy? Why was there such a giant dip in viewers? Wait, what? My statistics are showing me that like 84 viewers went to 56 in like a second. How did that happen? Is that true? I think my YouTube's lying to me. Anyway, yes, what is the Grand Tyrell Conspiracy? So, the idea behind this conspiracy, we see lots of grand conspiracies in A Song of Ice and Fire, right? The Grand Maester Conspiracy, the Grand Dornish Conspiracy, the Southern Ambitions Conspiracy. This is the Grand Tyrell Conspiracy. The idea behind this is that Cersei's downfall is the direct result of Tyrell plotting. So, let's go through it. The Tyrells worked with Tywin Lannister to improve their position, right? So, Mace made it onto the council, Margaery becoming queen, Garth the Gross nearly becoming Master of Coin, etc., etc. But after Tywin dies, Cersei becomes the Queen Regent. She removes Mace from the council and she's kind of rude to him. She hates Margaery, clearly. She disinvites Garth the Gross and names Harys Swift as Master of Coin instead. Giles Rosby is initially Master of Coin, then he dies, then it's Harys Swift, I think. And so the Tyrells want to eliminate Cersei in order to get Kevin Lannister as regent and secure Tyrell power. And in fact, after Cersei's arrested by the Faith, after the Walk of Shame, Kevin does become the regent, and the Tyrells have secured their power. Mace is back in, Paxter Redwine and Randall Tarley are in the council with proper positions. Garth the Gross is going to become the new Master of Coin, probably after Harys Swift dies in Bravos. I've talked about that theory before. Pycella's dead, which means the new Grand Maester may be Maester Gorman, Mace Tyrell's uncle. So that's what they want. Plus, we have a bunch of spies. We have Taena Merryweather, who we talked about before, maybe a Tyrell spy. Aurane Waters, if he's feeding false information about Loras and Dragonstone, he could be a spy. And Aurane Waters, I didn't mention before, is actually seen sharing a cup with Eleanor Tyrell, who's one of Margaery's ladies-in-waiting, one of her cousins, I believe, distant cousin. And so how does this work? The Tyrells found out about Cersei's plan to expose Margaery as an adulterer. So Cersei asks Taena Merryweather to pass on Osney Kettleblack's admiration of Margaery to Margaery because she wants Osney to seduce Margaery and then expose her. If Taena is working for the Tyrells, she would go to Margaery and say, Cersei wanted me to do this. And then when Osney goes ahead and tries to seduce Margaery, apparently it was awkward and she rejected him. She was flirty, but she rejected him. That would confirm it. Cersei wants this man, Osney Kettleblack, to seduce me. She's trying to frame me as an adulterer. So they work out that that's the plan. So Taena Merryweather convinces Cersei that Margaery's maidenhead must be broken, right? Whether she's had sex or just from horseback riding, her maidenhead is broken. So the plot to frame her as an adulterer will work. And Taena also tells Margaery that she visits Grand Maester Pycelle a lot for moon tea, perhaps. Maybe Taena is telling Cersei this because the Tyrells have instructed her to do so. They want Cersei to be led along the trail. They want her to believe that, Margaery's maidenhead is broken. She's visiting Pycelle. Maybe she's getting moon tea. Did I say milk with a poppy earlier? I meant moon tea. She's getting moon tea. She's trying to prevent pregnancies and so on. So therefore, it will be successful. Her attempts to frame her as being an adulterer would be successful, and she could get Margaery out of the picture. And so the Tyrells lull her into this false sense of security, including faking Loras's wounds in Dragonstone, keeping him away from King's Landing, making her feel safe, making her, not be able to rely on him for trial by combat. And so what happens if Cersei tries to frame Margaery? Well, she can prove herself to be innocent. Let's say her maidenhead isn't broken. Let's say she hasn't been drinking moon tea and that Taena was lying and maybe Pycelle was lying because he's in bed with the Tyrells now. In their eyes, Cersei would get in trouble. Inevitably, it would blow up in her face. For lying, that's basically, lying about the Queen is basically treason. She could get in trouble. But she could also call a trial by combat. And so, hence, as I said before, they remove Sir Loras Tyrell from the picture. He is gone. He is not. They faked his dying. Aurane tells her who's going to fight for her in a trial by combat. Balon Swan is in Dorne. Osmond Kettleblack is in prison, and I think he got stripped of his white cloak. Aris Oakheart died in Dorne. That leaves Meryn Trant and Boros Blount to defend Cersei, and of course they are both completely, at best they're like mid, but Boros Blount is probably worse than mid because he's now quite overweight and struggling to stand up because he eats so much, because he's now the royal food tester. Yeah. And of course it spirals out of control in terms of the High Sparrow and all that, so I don't think the Tyrells anticipated all that stuff to go down. But it explains a lot. It also explains why Osney Kettleblack is tortured. So, the mercenary working for Cersei, she says, Osney, go introduce Margaery. It doesn't work. Cersei then says, okay, Osney, go and if that didn't work, confess to the High Sparrow that you slept with her, and then we'll frame a bunch of other people. According to the High Sparrow, Sir Osney was too eager to confess, so he tortured him, and then in torturing him, Osney revealed that, he killed the previous High Septon for her and blah, blah, blah. But does that make sense? Someone to confess their sins and then the High Sparrow thinks that they're confessing too eagerly and tortures them? That feels a bit weird, doesn't it? Maybe he confessed his sins, they brought in Margaery for examination, and like she anticipated with the Tyrell allies, maidenhead intact, Osney's clearly lying, torture him to find out the truth, Cersei gets in trouble, trial by combat, no one can fight for her apart from Meryn or Boros, she loses, the Tyrells deftly get rid of a major thorn in their side. Of course, they didn't anticipate, all the other stuff that happened, and they also didn't anticipate Robert Strong. They didn't anticipate Undead Mountain becoming a fucking member of the King's Guard. Excuse me. But that is the Grand Tyrell Conspiracy. They were pushing Cersei along all the time in A Feast for Crows. Everything she did was them manipulating her and pushing her towards that so that everything would blow up in her face. And it did. It just might also blow up in the Tyrell's face. What do we think about that one then? What do we think about the Grand Tyrell Conspiracy? Oh yes, poll time. The final poll of the live stream is coming out. I'll just put the Grand Tyrell Conspiracy. Do you believe it? or is it lending a bit too much into the tropes in the fandom, right? Where the fans are like, everything has to be a giant conspiracy, everything is people scheming and plotting and being manipulated into stuff. It's not a series of, chaotic events intertwining and creating more chaotic events and so on and so forth. No, it's all big and planned out and blah blah blah. I'll let the poll go. I'll let you decide. The poll is out. Feel free to vote on the final theory. Rob's last word is mother. I thought in the show his last word is mother, not in the book. In the book it's Grey Wind. Maybe in the show Rob walked into Catelyn. Who are the two behind Olenna? I think that's meant to be Marjorie and Loras from the show. Do I plan any videos about mythology? That could be cool, but that would be in a second channel. That would be if I ever go back to History Haven, that would be there. Why is everyone saying Marjorie in the chat? Did I say that by accident? Did I say Marjorie? Tyrell's couldn't have possibly planned for Cersei to make all the stupid decisions. I agree. Cersei made this decision to whitewash herself. This is Cersei's theory. Okay, 62% are saying yes. 60 with 24 votes in, 62% of people are saying yes. The Grand Tyrell conspiracy is true. They knew all about it. They pushed Cersei towards her failure. Only 25 votes though. Not as many votes as we were getting before. Come on, everyone. Come and vote. This is the last ever vote of the entire live stream. Jump in and vote. Let's see if we can shift the needle. I'm so annoyed by how the show handled the whole Cersei's conspiracy against the Tyrells. It's so boring. Arrest Loras for being gay and then arrest based on one piece of evidence, which is that a gay prostitute in a brothel knows he has a birthmark somewhere, and arrest Marjorie for knowing her brother's gay. What's so lame? You have an entire, I've talked about this before, but an entire conspiracy with murdering High Septons, falsely accusing a bunch of people, freeing some of them, torturing others, having one of them willingly confess so they can be sent to the wall, so they can assassinate Jon Snow and then return with a pardon and a reward. So much fun stuff is happening. It's like what happened with Anne Boleyn, right? Like in the Tudors. Fun enough, played by Natalie Dormer, which may have inspired them. But yeah, the way that... Was it Thomas Cromwell, right? Or Thomas More? I always get confused. Thomas Cromwell, fucking over the Boleyns, basically. And getting a bunch of... torturing people into confessing that Anne Boleyn slept with them. All these... accusing her of sleeping with her own brother, and so on and so forth. It's just so... and then they just crammed everything into season 5. And they just dumbed it down. They just made it boring. They made it so dull, didn't they? I don't know. All the conspiracy stuff, all of the... Imagine just imagine a montage. Imagine a montage of all of these. Okay, no, that's enough. I've ranted about that plot line too many times. But in the future, I'm planning a series of videos, which will be comparing real life historical events to events in Song of Ice and Fire. One of those historical comparisons will be the false accusations against Marjorie versus the accusations, false or otherwise, against Anne Boleyn. So I'll save that for the future. Oh yeah, by Faith Militant I do mean a bunch of people in rags. Anyway. 28 votes. Where have all the voters gone? We've only got 70 people watching. We've only got 28 votes. Okay, looks like I'm going to end a poll. Most people say yes, the great Tyrell conspiracy is true. I'm going to wrap up the live stream now. This is your last chance to throw in any questions. If you have any questions, any theories, any suggestions, send them in the form of a super chat so I can see them, and it will help support the channel. And I'll answer those for like the next 5 minutes. If not, you can hop off the super chat if you want. Hop off the live stream if you want. But I will say, as always, like, subscribe, check out my Patreon for all kind of goodies, or not, and keep an eye out for the Blackfire video. We're going to do every Riverlands house in CK3 explained next Friday. 2 weeks after that, hopefully, Blackfire video with a cheeky sponsorship. And either this month or next month, I definitely want to work on some merch stuff. Oh, and a Halloween live stream. I haven't got any ideas for a Halloween live stream. It wouldn't be on Halloween itself because I'd probably be going to a Halloween party or something, but around that day maybe. Yeah, any questions, any theories, anything? Let me know. We're wrapping up. This was a very tiring live stream. My throat hurts. I've had longer live streams. But 2.5 hours. I've had longer than 2.5 hours. Whew. Lots of talking today. Witches of a Song of Ice and Fire. Now that would be a good Halloween stream. Flippy dippy to the motherfucking do. That's a great idea. Ooh. Yes. Beautiful. Oh, that could be great. Would I have time to do that? Hold on. Wait, let me check. So, CK3 video on Friday. Blackfire video probably on the 27th. That would give me... Okay, I'm not sure if I could make a video in that time. I'm not sure if I could make... Oh, no, a live stream. Yeah, no, of course. Witches as it could be a live stream. I was thinking of like an animated video. Yeah, I could do a live stream with that. Perfect. Okay, looks like there are no more questions or super chats, so I guess I will pop off. Okay, I'll answer one more question I see here. What's your opinion about the bad pussy line from season 6 of Game of Thrones? I think that line justifies season 8 of Game of Thrones. So that's why I can't support the criticism of season 8. Because you might be disappointed by it, but when you look back at dialogue like bad pussy, you just have to respect the show as an entire product. You know, it's beautiful. I definitely cried when I first heard that. You want a good girl, but you need a bad pussy. And then she like bites his ear, and he's like, "What the fuck?" I love how his face is literally like, like Bron's face isn't even like turned on. He's like, "What?" He looks like he's like, "What the fuck?" Okay. I guess I'll head off. I'm very bad at stopping live streams because I want to keep watching the chat. I want to keep chatting to people. Say Beesbury. Okay, I'll end the live stream with that. I'll end it with a Beesbury. Beesbury.